All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rolling Over 40 podcast. This is episode 10. I finally hit double digits, and I'm happy to do so with my good friend and training partner, Fernando Morales. I've been training with Fernando since I started training. He probably started a little bit before me, and I want to know more of those details as well because I don't know exactly when you started. Fernando is he's not over 40. I'm sorry, guests and listeners and fans. He's another one that's not over 40. He's only 36, but hey, he's going to be over 40 soon. He
Yeah.
won't be able to stop it. He's a father of two. He's got two little boys, aged 5 and 2. He is originally from Santa Ana, California, right here, born and raised with one jiu-jitsu down the street.
Mhm.
And he is let's see, oh yeah, he is a 3-stripe white belt, and he might be the most ripped guy in our gym. Welcome,
Oh,
Fernando Morales.
thank you so much for that introduction, Connor. Thank you, thank you. Glad to
No
be on here.
problem. Well, thanks for helping me with that. And that's another thing I wanted to do, is get better at introducing, ever since Mark, of course, which, as we all know, poor Mark got no
It's
proper intro.
that
But
was a test run.
it sure was a test run, yeah.
Mhm.
And so I kind of, as I've been doing the podcasting thing, I decided I want to get to know a little more about my guests too, because a lot of our listeners kind of want to know what you do off the mat outside of training jujitsu. And even I think a lot of our listeners who know you personally, like a lot of our listeners, a lot of the people we train with, don't know what you do outside the gym and off the mat. And so you told me that you're in the pest control industry.
I am. Yeah, killing bugs is what I do. So if anybody has any pest issues, I'm your guy.
So it's the bugs. It's not the no rodents.
Everything. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
everything that
everything.
it falls
Okay.
under the label of pest. I mean, even people can be a pest. So if somebody you want to get rid of, let me know, Connor.
Wow, you cover all the bases: rodents, animals, and humans. All right, that I can think of a few people I wouldn't mind getting rid of, but we'll talk
Uh,
about that off air after
yeah,
the
yeah,
show,
definitely.
maybe. So okay, you work full time, right?
Yeah, yeah, I work full time. As it warms up, that's my busy season.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Something that, I would never even think about, but that does make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that's my thing. Been doing that for close to 15 years now.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's if I'm not on the mats, I'm out there killing bugs.
Okay, killing bugs, and you're a father of two. You got
Hmm.
a full house. So being a father of two and working the busy schedule you work, like how many days a week are you in there training, and how do you balance the normal life with trying to train jujitsu?
Yeah, so with my boys, I like to I train jujitsu 3 times a week. I try and get in at least three is minimum.
Okay.
Four is a little rare, but if I can get four in, that's awesome. I also like to weight lift, so I'll tend to do that like on my lunch. I'll take my gym bag with me, so I am still lifting. There is some days where I'll go to jujitsu on days where I've lifted. Usually those are the days I'm getting smashed though, because I'm already beat up from the pre-pump I've gotten earlier in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just try and get my rounds in, stay sharp.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I wouldn't feel complete doing just jujitsu or
All
just
right.
weightlifting. I really do need to do both, I feel like.
Okay. You're describing me pretty much. I bring my gym bag to work as well, and I usually go on the way to work because I work in Long Beach. And
Okay.
so, yeah, it depends. Sometimes I'm able to get in the gym and lift weights in the middle of my day, but most of the time it's on the way to work, bright and early in the morning. But it does sound like a pretty similar process. And you are a 3-stripe white belt. And Fernando, I gotta say, speaking of that, if I had to put my money on which one of the three stripe white belts out there might skip that next stripe and go straight to blue. No pressure, and no, I know you're a humble guy. I'd
Hmm.
probably put my money on you, man, because I swear, and I know you heard me say this on a podcast, but the last time we rolled, I felt like I was rolling against Coy,
Yeah,
who's a
sorry about that.
multi-stripe blue.
Uh,
So, yeah, that was crazy, man. But that was awesome. Like,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, just training with you and rolling with you. When I'm rolling with you lately, it's like I want to be able to do that. What Fernando does. Like, I mean, you just went from I was in your guard, and you went armbar, and then we reset triangle, and then reset, and it was just so fast. So what are you doing anything outside the gym like Cody does? Are you reading and studying and doing any
I
of
don't
that kind
say
of
I would
stuff?
study it like Cody. Cody's on another level with the studying, with the note taking. I feel like I take more mental notes.
Okay.
I try and stay away from like the YouTube videos. I did make that mistake when I first started. I'd see those YouTube videos and it's like, oh, hey, let me try that. Um,
And you
but
say that was a mistake. Why do you say that was a mistake?
because I would not do the move correctly. And I remember one time Professor Wellington, shout out to Mr. Professor Wellington.
Shout
Um,
out Wellington.
yeah, but I remember trying one time some move I saw Craig Jones do. And he caught on right away. He said something along the lines of like, "You've been on YouTube?" And yeah, that again, that was like that
Wow.
first year I started training, and it
It's
was
crazy that he knew right away. Like he
yeah,
just saw you do something. He's like, he didn't learn that here with
yeah. He's like,
me.
"You've been on the YouTube," and I was like, "Yeah." So after that, I just and then I spoke to somebody else, one of the other guys. I tried some move, and I told him, "Yeah, man, I saw it on YouTube." He's like, "Oh, don't focus so much on the YouTube." I don't recall the guy's name, but he was a blue belt, and he's like, "Hey, don't." He's like, "Just try and focus on what you're learning here, try and what you're drilling here." And I've tried, and I've focused on that ever since. But I am a huge fight fan in general. Boxing, I come from a very heavy boxing background.
Ooh,
Um,
really? All
yeah,
right.
yeah, I
So,
started. That was actually my
yeah,
first. I don't know if you want to call it martial art or whatnot,
yeah.
uh, but boxing is something I did since I was little.
Little.
Did
How little are we talking?
Oh man, I'm talking the first time my dad got me my first pair of gloves and bag, I must have been like 4. Um,
Four. Now, was he a boxer too? Is that why?
yeah, my dad boxed. He did like the amateur stuff in Mexico City. Um,
Okay. So
and
he's
then
from Mexico City.
yeah. My
Okay.
dad from Mexico City. He did come to the United States as a teenager. Um, he ended up joining the military, so he was a warrior in every aspect in my mind.
Right.
So
Heck
when
yeah.
I was, I'm the youngest of nothing but sisters. So when I was born, I'm his only boy. I'm the
Oh
youngest.
yeah.
So
He'd been waiting for a boy, and so that's
yeah.
why he
So
started you early,
my
right?
dad already had me when he was in his 40s. So he was like, man, I've been waiting for you, kid. Um,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So we put them gloves on, and he just always had me just working. And the
So he
first
taught
time.
you. He taught you boxing
Yeah,
then.
he taught me boxing. That the first time we actually went to an actual gym, one of the guys told me it was I don't even remember the name of the gym. It was out in Fountain Valley. Had me moving and hitting the bag and stuff. And right away, I remember him saying like, "Wow, he's a natural, like Macho Camacho." And my dad, Mexico and Puerto Rico, they have that big rivalry. My dad right away was like, "No, not Macho Camacho, um, Chavez, more like Chavez." But
Okay, and
yeah,
that's see, I don't even know who Macho Camacho is. Is that you said?
he was a big Puerto Rican boxer.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in back
big
in the
back in the day.
80s or
Yeah,
something.
80s, early 90s. But yeah, my dad's like, no, Chavez, which is a big Mexican boxer, right?
Right. What's his first name again?
Julio
Julio.
Cesar
I was gonna say
Chavez.
Julio Chavez. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I did that, man, and
And you
I
were competing. When did you competed as well?
I didn't compete my first boxing match up until I was junior high. I did a little bit of a USA boxing. Um, But if I'm gonna be real, I was just always just a real scrappy kid. Santa Ana, like tough area where I
Yeah.
grew up.
Okay.
I had more victories outside of the ring than I did in, but
And
that's a different.
that's where it counts, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not something I like to talk about so much nowadays, but if I'm being honest, it is part of my story.
Okay.
But Yeah, man. Just that's so going back to your original question, that's kind of more what I study, the whole MMA, like the UFC, mixed martial arts, just any type of fighting I love to watch.
Hmm.
I have had to, I've tried to focus a little bit more on just like jujitsu matches. I'm a big fan of Marcelo. I love them scrambles he gets into.
Marcelo who?
I believe his last name Marcelo Garcia is his last name. I
Okay.
could be wrong. Yeah, it is. But yeah, I love a lot of his matches. Because he's not that big of a guy. Um, his stand up is a little bit more wrestling based, and he loves to, he scrambles a lot in his matches that I've seen, and
Okay.
I feel like that's something I
And
do.
you, so out of curiosity though, the boxing, I'm curious, Lo, you were boxing in junior high, you were boxing on the playground, and
No, no, no. Well,
and
I did
now,
start. So then I did, start finally boxing in an actual gym.
all
I started
right,
at the Santa Ana
all right,
Boxing Gym,
okay,
with my trainer Hugo Vargas, who he currently is a trainer out at Rounders.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I just always followed along. We went from gym to gym to gym to gym. We went to different gyms.
And you
But yeah,
followed him, your
I've
coach.
always followed him. Yeah, I was always with him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, we were in the Santa Ana boxing gym. We went to the Jerome gym. We boxed out of the DG boxing gym at one point, but I was always with him.
And you were competing like all this time as well. No?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
competed not as much as I should have. I felt like because some of those matches, I just it was this crazy dedication, man. Like some of those kids were in there day in, day out, and my dad sometimes, if I didn't want to go, he was cool with it, but I still had to show up at least 3 times to the gym and get my workout in. But yeah, man, just I love
Yeah.
that just the grittiness and just fighting in there was really my main thing, man.
Got it. And so when did you start training at one, the our at our gym?
I started November of 22. My story is
Okay.
kind of like Human's in a way. That my son was only about a month and a half old when I got in there. Um,
Okay.
and because I was hitting the bag at the gym, and I wasn't doing any sparring, but I wanted to. It's just the past few times I did spar with some of my buddies, who are pro, out of Rounders. One time I went up against one of my buddies, Ricky, and he hit me with this left on my ribs, and I was sore for months, like months. Mind you, he's a light heavyweight,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm only walking around at like a buck 60,
Yeah.
Um,
Like me, I get it. We're about the
yeah,
same.
yeah, I'm not that big of a guy, but yeah, I
Right.
was sore for months. And even when I would weightlift and I would start to exert myself, it would hurt. So
Wait, so you were sparring, like when we say sparring, you were sparring like MMA sparring, like kickboxing, or just boxing sparring?
just boxing, but I
All
mean,
right.
I would spar even against, some pros. I know you had Coy on here, and he was mentioning his coach Nam Fan. I
Okay.
was sparring Nam Fan when I was 16, 17 years old. Just because I don't know
In
what
boxing, in
connection in
straight
boxing.
boxing.
Yeah, straight
Okay.
boxing. I don't know what connection my coach had with his people, but yeah, I got to spar, him.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
yeah, I
when
just
is the what's the connection? When did sorry to cut you off. It went from boxing to jujitsu now. When did was it
so
because of that punch that you took and you're like, okay, I
nah,
don't want to
man,
be
nah. So it's a funny story, and it goes back to my 20s. I have a buddy who used to train jujitsu as a kid. He used to I think he was out of like Gracie Baja. Um, but he did as a kid, and obviously what he remembered, he never forgot. So fast forward, we're in our 20s. We had a night out we were drinking, right? It was a drunk night, and we started roughhousing, and this guy got me in a guillotine. And mind you, I'm a heavy boxer. I'm thinking I can handle, just about anybody my size for the most part.
yeah.
But this guy had me in this guillotine, and I felt helpless. And we fell down, whatever. We had to scramble. And I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, like I did not like that feeling of not being able to do anything whatsoever. And
Right.
that just always stuck with me, And I was like, man, if something
And
were to ever happen.
this was you were in your 20s at the time. So this was like
Correct. Yeah.
10, 15 years ago maybe.
Yeah, closer to 15 years.
Uh-huh. And
And I
so
just felt,
you did, I mean, you had heard of jujitsu, you knew about it, you had always been interested in the martial arts,
mhm.
but this so was this the first time you thought to yourself, okay, I kind of want to learn
Yeah,
this
yeah.
other
I
martial
kind of
art?
thought like, man, I want to learn. And then just weightlifting. I met a guy who's now a very good friend of mine who trains out of AOJ, and he had always been telling me like, man, you need to get into jujitsu, and he was always telling me
What's
to
sorry, what's AOJ?
art of jujitsu.
Oh,
It's a different jujitsu academy. I believe they're out of Costa Mesa and some
okay.
other location, but that's where he trains. And he was like, "Man, you really need to get into jujitsu." And it was always in the back of my mind, but just never did it. One thing or another. Um, but then it got to a point where you've seen all these matches, UFC, whatever it may be, and I really wanted to do it. And then when my son was born, I wasn't weightlifting as much. So my son's mom was like, "Hey, you should finally try the jujitsu." And I said, "You know what? Let me do it." And I know Jiva has a connection with Bao, who actually owns Rounders. So I had heard him mention before.
With
Um,
Bao, sorry, Bao is this is the owner of Rounders you're talking about. Bao.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
I
Yeah,
don't think I
yeah.
know
So
who
there's
that
some
is,
form of
but
connection there.
so that's how
Uh,
you got connected to
well,
Jiva
I
and
had well,
One
I had heard
was
about them. I had heard about them. Not, but I was still unsure where I wanted to go train.
okay.
So I started looking up at different schools, different academies, and I went down this rabbit hole on Reddit of all places.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
and I saw Jiva mentioned there, and there was not one negative comment on Jiva whatsoever. Like everybody that I saw post about
Yeah.
him had nothing but great things to say about him, and I was like, let's do it, man. So when I actually emailed Mo and he did the whole setup, like I told him, like I'm not looking for like a free trial or I'm just looking to sign up.
Oh, oh, damn, really? You knew that even a trial, you didn't even need a trial class. You
Yeah,
knew you were in. You were that confident. And that was, well, it was
yeah.
partly because, and sorry, I didn't get to let you finish telling your story about your buddy who got you in the guillotine, but it was, I assume that was the end of the story. He got you in the guillotine, you tapped, and, and that was
Nah,
it.
that's not the end of the
Oh,
story.
no. All right. Let's hear the rest.
Man, so I was able to scramble and I rung his bell after that,
Oh,
and
you popped
yeah,
him.
we shook
Okay.
hands. It was one of those,
Yeah.
guy things. You get drunk, you get in a
But
fight, you shake hands.
yeah, but when he had you in the guillotine, did
Oh
you
man, I
have to
felt
tap or you were able to scramble
well.
out of that?
We were in the living room when it happened. So we like tripped over a table, and we tripped over the table. He thankfully
Okay.
let go of that guillotine, but if we that table was not there, he would have put me to sleep easily.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was then that was when kind of one of the seeds was planted then about like I need to
I need
get
to
a more
sharpen up these
complete
skills
game
because
here.
boxing is not everything.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And do you still box at all? Or is
I
it all
still
just
do box. I do plenty of boxing. I still hit the
oh, really?
bags. Yeah, yeah. I do plenty of mitt work with my older son.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like that's key. Not to say that my mindset is kind of like I remember Jiva even posted this one time. He was saying, "I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war."
Yeah, I've heard that quote before,
So
which
you
is a
figure,
great quote.
yeah, and you figure if you stay ready, you don't need to get ready, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've always felt that fight in me. I don't know what it is. It's just like some like
Mm-hmm.
again, since I was little, just I was just always in me to just want to
Yeah.
fight. Um,
Uh-huh.
so that's kind of I just figure got to stay sharp in every aspect.
Right. And so would you say like when you're getting your kids into it, into the boxing, and when you
Mhm.
say they kind of need that, this is more for like life skills than for
Life
competition, you
skills,
would
yeah,
say?
yeah. I want my kids to be the nice kids, the nerdy kids that know how to protect themselves, because kids
Right.
can kids
Yeah.
can be ruthless, kids can be mean,
Right.
and my genetics. I'm obviously not the biggest guy, and
Yeah.
I had plenty of guys try to bully me growing up. So it's like, oh man, I think about
Right.
all those situations for my kids, and
Right.
obviously they're in a better place than I was when I was their age, but kids will be kids. So I'd just rather they know how to protect themselves.
Yeah. And is your older one, is he training at one yet?
No, no, he will be making that dive soon though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's
he's 5.
5.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
calm. He's a very sweet boy. My younger
Okay.
one, who's gonna be 3 soon, he's a little rowdy. So I feel like
Okay.
he's he's probably a lot more ready than the older one.
Okay. But do you plan to have both of them in there training
Yeah,
eventually?
definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's a must.
Okay. Yeah, I got both my kids in there right now, but they're 10. My daughter's 10, my son's 11. And so, yeah,
Okay.
they've been training there for my daughter about a year, my son about 2 years. And
Okay.
yeah, no, it's going good. I would have started them earlier if I'd known about the gym, if I'd thought of it. So
Hmm.
I think it's, yeah, I think you're going to love getting your kids in there. But obviously, based on you and your background, you're going to really, really enjoy that,
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
them
You know, and
learn.
I still do that here. Like I said, I'll roll around. My older boy, I kind of teach him, so the basics, right? What am I going to teach him? I'm only a white belt, right? But
Yeah.
I like to teach him the little that I know.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
I take him. I don't know if you see him, but sometimes he'll be sitting off to the side. I'll
During our
take my
class?
yeah. During our class, I will
Yeah.
sometimes take my older boy, and he'll watch,
Yeah.
and there'll be occasions where I'm getting smoked out there, and I'll look over at him, and he'll give me a thumbs up.
Man,
Yeah.
enjoy that now because that's my son pretty much just shakes his head at me when I'm getting smashed because, kids learn fast and he's so much better than me already. I mean,
Yeah.
he's only been training what, a month longer than me or something like
Oh,
that,
okay,
and he
okay.
is way better than me, way better than me. But I mean, kids, they learn quick,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of the way it goes with kids. So yeah, he shakes his head at me, and then after class, he'll always tell me what I did wrong, and then just yeah, and how I got a lot to learn. But
That must be an awesome
that's what
feeling
a
too,
boy.
right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's good. I mean, it's better than the other way around for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, like I said, sometimes I'll be doing it, and then after class, my son will be like, "Oh, Papa, you got beat up today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got beat up today."
But that's I mean, that's part of the fun of the process. I'm sure you would agree. Getting beat up. I was
Totally,
telling if you heard the one with
totally.
Chris, I mean,
I
I
did.
feel like just getting beat up is just as it may be a little more discouraging, but it's just as I don't know, it's just as
Yeah, no, no.
satisfying as doing well.
Yeah, for sure. And I've heard it on plenty of podcasts where they relate jujitsu with like day-to-day life, ups and downs of life, and um, it sounds a little cliche, but that's honestly true. That now that I've
Yeah.
I've actually been in this sport, highs and lows of life. The pressure sometimes is heavy, but if you just find a way to hang in there, man, everything gets better. And same with jujitsu, man. I mean, there's times where you got that pressure going, like, oh my gosh. I remember throwing a tap when I first started. Not
Yeah.
even a submission, just straight pressure. And as long as you hang in there, you'll get a little bit of space and you'll get some breathing room, and then everything turns out to be okay.
Speaking of that, there was a time when you and I rolled, not the most recent time, which,
Hmm.
the time we mentioned already, but before that, when, man, the pressure that someone, as small as you and I, when you were just, I don't know, you were passing my guard really slow at
Hmm.
one point, and I'll be honest with you, I almost tapped to the pressure. It
Oh,
was
come on
that
now.
close of a call. It was so uncomfortable, man, and I'm just like, I'm just thinking to myself, all right, Fernando, just submit me already so I can tap, so I'm not tapping the pressure. But that
Yeah,
pressure pass or whatever that's called, man, my God,
it's crazy.
you've really gotten good at that.
I'm trying. I've had that conversation with the guys. I know the professors are always telling me to slow down. Like
Okay.
slow down, and that's real hard for me. So I feel like when you're a heavier set guy, the way you cook is putting that pressure, and at least I'm
Yep.
not that big of a guy, so my
Yeah.
cooking is just going fast. I'm just gonna try to
Yeah.
gas you out.
Right.
But I do need to slow down. I do need to learn that pressure.
So, I mean, you strike me though, like the way you train and the way you roll. You strike me as someone who, when you go out, you really do have a game plan. Like, I'm gonna try to do this, and this, or is it not?
Um,
Is it
I
just
I try and
chaos?
do like submissions, and it's kind of funny you touch on that because that's something that was very new for me when I got into jiu-jitsu. When the round starts, you give that guy a handshake, and they'd ask, "What are you working on today?" And I'd be like, "What am I working on today? To submit you, dude."
Yeah.
That was my mindset at first, right? Like to beat you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I know it's like there's stuff you definitely need to work on. You
Yeah. Well, I
know,
mean, so
it's
do you have a game plan now? Like these days, is it just you go out there?
yeah,
Okay, I got this. This
slow down is
sequence, like, so slow down. Okay.
yeah, slow down. Because I guess that's just I keep getting told that I'm just too not putting enough pressure, just I'm not holding positions long enough. But
Okay.
when I'm in the middle of it,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, man, well, I see that submission there. Why can't I just go for it? But
Yeah.
but sometimes obviously you go for it and you don't have the right positioning.
Yeah.
You give the guy enough space and he's out of there, and there goes that submission. So just
Right.
slowing down is key. And there's a few moves I'm constantly been trying to work on.
Okay.
The
What
loop
would those
choke.
be?
The loop choke is one that I've
I
really,
don't
really
even know
been
what that
hitting.
is. You probably did
It's
it to
like
me,
right
but I
off the
don't know.
bat, you just throw your hand right up, as deep as you can. Well, not necessarily deep as you can, the collar, but um,
You mean from
you
standing
I
or
mean, I've
from? Is
got
this from?
no, no. Well, I've seen people hit it from standing. I've never done it standing. Usually, I will do it once
Oh,
we're already on the ground.
okay.
So I'll, grab a cross collar. Usually, I know Jiva made a note to where he feels his knuckles along a person's collarbone, and that's like the sweet
Okay.
spot.
Yeah.
And then you kind of wrap your other hand around the back of their head
Okay. This
where
is
it
from.
reaches.
Are you in guard? I mean, do you have somebody in your guard, or is this?
I've hit it from guard. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've hit it from guard. I've even hit it from a top position too.
Oh,
But yeah, you just reach along grab their collar, and the other hand goes behind their head, and you kind of lift your elbow up.
yeah.
You tuck your other hand, but underneath your elbow, you lift it up, and you just cinch it down.
Okay.
So I've kind of been working on that
Okay. So that's a loop choke, and
loop choke and bow and arrow. Anybody that's rolled with me probably knows that I'm hitting
y-
those all the time.
really, man, that's awesome. Bow and arrow is one thing I definitely haven't hit. Yeah, I just if you heard my episode with Shalisa, it's like I still don't really feel like I have all the details of the bow and arrow down. There's so many little details there. Just pull this way with
Yeah,
that arm, pull
I
this
feel
way
like
with
that's
this
with
arm.
everything. I mean, with the simple
Yeah,
passing, the
yeah,
details. You know how it is. Like you work on a pass, and um, you know we do some training sessions, months pass, and then you circle back to a simple pass, and then there's these
yeah.
extra little details that just get sprinkled in. You're like, oh, it just becomes mind blowing. Um,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
the small little transitions, and you
Okay.
know,
So bow and arrow, man. That I mean, I feel like you've got quite an arsenal, Fernando. I mean, you've hit so many bow and arrows, you've hit arm bars, you've hit triangles. I mean, I'm still trying to work on hitting, well, much of anything. I don't have
nah, I
any that
get
I've
you, I
hit
get you.
enough times to where it's like, if you've rolled with Connor, you know that he's gonna. It's like, nah, I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm getting there, and little by little. But it's
Yeah,
just like that's where I want to be, where you are, to where I can have a conversation like this and say, yeah, I've hit that one all these times, and I've hit that
yeah.
one all these
I
times.
guess my mentality is, your best defense is your offense. So you figure if I'm
Right?
just attacking you, then you
Yeah.
can't attack me. And I think that
Yeah.
also comes from the boxing background,
Okay.
where it's like as long as I'm in your face, you can't do nothing to me. But jujitsu is a total different ball game. You roll with the
Yeah.
higher belt, and you make a mistake, and that's it. There goes your arm. There goes your neck.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've all been there too many
Hmm.
times.
Way too many times.
Yeah, I'll be there a lot this week probably because I'm on spring break from work.
Okay.
So my plan this week is to go whenever I don't have to work. I go in the morning. So
Okay.
that's my
Okay.
plan because I can go there and then I can race home and grab a kid and drop off one kid
Okay.
at school while my wife drops off the other one, or sometimes both. And that's
Gotcha.
after
Gotcha.
training. So I love starting the day that way. If I could train in the mornings every day, I would. So that's my goal this week, is all for Monday through Thursday morning every day.
Yeah, I've
Hoping that's
tried
the
that. I
goal.
did it once. I went to the one of the Nogi ones on a
Yeah,
Wednesday. Oh
Wednesday.
man,
Yeah.
it was so tough to get up. And
You're not a
I
morning
really
person
can,
then.
because my schedule is it's definitely doable with my schedule, but
Okay.
there's times where I wake up and it's just so dark outside, and I'm just feel so comfortable in bed. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go out there and get aggressive so early in the morning, but
Yeah.
nighttime, let's get it, baby.
I don't blame you. Even last summer, I was doing the extra early ones that Professor Erica was running that started at 5:15.
Oh, I was
So
unaware of those.
yeah, it was every Tuesday, Thursday from 5:15 to 6:15, and then I would do that, and then I would stay and do the 6:30 morning class as well.
Oh man,
And that was yeah, I mean, for me it's like the earlier the better. I don't
that
care. I'll
sounds
get up,
brutal.
man. I love yeah, it was brutal doing that, but anyway, I'm a morning person, so that's more my style, but yeah, that's my goal this week, is to get in there all the mornings. And so
That's
we'll
awesome.
see. Yeah, yeah, thanks, man. And let's see, I wanted to talk to you about, I mean, you already kind of touched on this, but like you said at the beginning, you would because one of my questions was going to be, what is something that has surprised you about this sport since starting to training? And you've kind of like already touched on it, where you said at the start you were just like what am I, people would say, what are you working on? I'm like, what am I
Yeah,
working
what are
on?
you
Just
working
go, go,
on?
go. So,
Right.
have there been some things that have surprised you about this sport
Yeah,
since
yeah,
starting?
there's no the one thing that is totally mind-blowing, because obviously it's a martial art. I got into it obviously as more as like a self-defense type of thing, right? But
Yeah.
oh, there's no ego is something that at least not in our gym. But I mean, going through and again going referencing the boxing again is even with my own training partners back then, like you still want to knock their head off. And sometimes sparring's turned into like a full-on fight. Whereas with jujitsu, I've never felt that. I feel like there's no ego. I feel that, or maybe just the place we train out of. I feel like everybody's so humbled and grounded, and it's just a great family, environment, which makes sense why there's so many jujitsu dads there as well. But that was like a shocker that there's like zero ego and everybody's very humble.
And so you're contrasting that with boxing a lot. And you said like some sparring matches will just turn into a fight, meaning like, do you mean like you're starting to spar and then at some point along the way, both of you are just like, F this, I want to freaking hurt you now, and I'm going
Yeah,
to try my hardest
yeah.
to really hurt you like that?
Yeah, yeah, that happened many times with some of my buddies, and guys I would train with, or we would travel to different gyms, whether it was be in LA or in the Inland Empire, and somebody's getting ready for a fight, and you're supposed to do light sparring, but it just turns into a full-on fight, and I don't ever feel like I've felt that in jiu-jitsu, where somebody, you're fighting with anger, and so that was the shocker. It's like, wow, like it's a totally different thing, and it translates to the gentle art. So from my understanding, right? But yeah, that was a game changer for me.
All right. Yeah, see, I wouldn't know that just because this is the only martial art I've ever really done. I did a little bit of Taekwondo as a kid, but that doesn't really count. Um, the 1 year I did where I learned absolutely nothing and cried on my first day of class. Uh,
Yeah,
I would just assume that every martial art has its form, has like, the minimal ego like our sport does, like jujitsu does. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like that is
it's
definitely not
not
the case
comparable with
according to
boxing.
you.
If there is, I mean, I've yet to run into it. I feel like everybody we train with, everybody within our circle there is awesome, So
Yeah.
that was totally different.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear, isn't it? It still blows my mind when I'll hear somebody. I've talked to a couple purple belts, some who have just got their purple belt, and they talk about I still have imposter syndrome, and I still feel like a little uneasy wearing this purple belt of mine. And it's like I know they don't, at least at our gym for sure, and I know at Steve's for sure, they don't just hand these belts out. Like you,
Yeah,
you got it because you earned it, and it's like wow, it's like it just blows my mind that you can be a purple belt and still feel like you have imposter syndrome. But I know a lot of the
yeah.
black belts, even in our gym, the black belts who dominate everybody, every belt below them, they have
Hmm.
that too. And so that
Yeah.
just goes to the lack of ego thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, like you said, I like the fact that you got to earn your belt. I've read, that there's other gyms that they'll do the whole, you're here for a certain amount of days and you'll get your promotion. And it's like, I wouldn't, granted, we do have to sign in at one, but I don't think
Yep.
that's the case. I would rather, get that belt promotion because I've earned it, because I deserve it, as opposed to, oh, okay, he's attended this many
Oh yeah.
classes. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
so I do enjoy that. So when that day comes, because I don't plan on going anywhere, but when that day comes, I will wear that belt with pride.
Hell yeah, me too. And are you let's talk competition, man. Have you competed yet?
Yeah, yeah, I've done a competition. I've done one in October. It didn't go as well as I had envisioned.
So
Um,
October of last year.
Correct. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you were 2 years in at this point. You had
Yep.
your two stripes, I guess, probably.
Yeah, I had two stripes. I went
Okay.
out there, did my thing. It went by so fast. It was I knew more or less what to expect.
Okay.
Again, coming from the boxing where it's just blitz right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I definitely after that I feel like I wanted to slow down, and maybe I feel like for a period after that, maybe for like the next month or so, I was really really slowing down my rolling.
Okay.
But I will be competing again April 12th, so in a few weeks.
Oh, that's like next week.
That's like two
That's two
weeks.
two
Yeah.
weeks away. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Okay. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the one that
So
a handful of our people are
yeah, a
doing. I
few of the
think
guys
Cody's
are
doing
doing
that.
that one.
Mike might
Yeah.
be doing that. Oh, great. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I am excited.
I hear some
I
hesitation there.
no. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I'm just ready for,
I mean,
you
I know
know.
it's a mix of emotions, I'm
Yeah, that's a
sure.
better way to put it. That's a better way to put it. It's a mix of emotions. I am excited. Obviously I'm a little nervous, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's part of it.
Have
You
you
need to be
been mentally getting ready for this? I mean, I'm sure you have been, but like in what way? How are you getting mentally and physically ready for this upcoming competition?
just, I mean, I've been trying to roll with like I've been trying to do like that 6 p.m. class at least once a week
All
to get
right.
roughed up by some of the higher belts, right?
Okay.
Which that has been successful, getting beat up by the higher belts.
I saw you on what day was it? I forget. You had just finished that class because I've never seen you in that class, and I was starting getting there for our class, which starts at 7:45. To our listeners who don't know, and you finished that class. It's a six. So the 6 o'clock class to our listeners who don't know is more of a higher belt class, even though us white belts are welcome, and the 7:45 is more of a beginner class. So I've never done the 6 o'clock on the weekday. And then the minute I saw you, I'm like, hey, look at you. You just did the class and you just said that was humbling.
Yeah, it's very humbling, because it's one thing to roll with, like fresh white belts and you do
Yeah.
this, do that. But once you roll with those higher belts, it's like, oh, you're not gonna have your way with them. But I
Yeah.
like that. And that's one thing that I actually enjoy more because when I first started and you would roll with like a blue belt or purple belt, whoever it may be, I was not, and still am not a fan of when they kind of go limp and they kind of let you get into certain positions.
Oh,
I,
really?
I don't like that, man. It's like smoke
You're
me,
like, you,
bro.
yeah, smoke me, choke me
Yeah,
out. Don't go easy on me, huh?
don't go
Okay.
easy, bro. Like, give me a fight, give me a fight.
That's
That's
that
what I'm a.
boxing background of yours, man.
I guess, man. I guess that's what it is. But so that's one thing. That at least now with the higher belts, there's a few of the guys that there's one purple belt. I believe his name is Josh. He's always a fun roll, man. This guy will always
Okay.
call me out, but it's awesome.
Is he in that 6 o'clock class?
He's in that 6 o'clock class, and it's
Okay.
always a humbling experience with that guy.
Okay. Man, Fernando, you got to come to the morning class one of these days again. I know your work schedule, you're not a morning person, you got work, you got kids, but I mean, I'll tell you that morning class, I'm like, usually there's maybe one or two other white belts and there may be three or four stripers and then there's like one or two blues, one or two purples, browns and blacks. And
Mhm.
that's it. So I think you'd enjoy getting roughed up by that
Yeah,
crew. Just saying.
yeah.
I know
I
you would.
know, I know. I think I got to set up that alarm a little earlier.
I mean, just once in a while, like if you
Yeah,
can. I think knowing after hearing what you're like, I don't like when they go limp. I don't like when they let me do this. It's like,
yeah. I'm not a fan of that. It's like, come on, man. Like, I don't feel like I
yeah.
learned that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I learned from my mistakes, and it's like, okay, well, I won't do that again. Um,
Right, right. I respect that, man. I respect that you don't want them to go easy on you.
yeah, yeah, and that's just that was also kind of, I was like, no, and sometimes I've even said it like, hey, man, just put the pressure, like, and then, oh, okay, and then I get choked
Okay.
out real quick.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and I appreciate every role with everybody that I roll with. But there's the blues and purples that are in our class who, yeah, there's some of them who just go hard on
Hmm.
me every time, and there's some that don't. And I mean, I personally, I appreciate every version of it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it but you know, at the same time, I can say I do have a special appreciation for when they go hard on me, and I'm
Hmm.
and I'm really, 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 really struggling because it's like you kind of need a balance of both, in my opinion. At least for
Yeah,
me,
of
it's like I
course, of
need I
course.
need to be able to try things that I've kind of learned, sorta.
Hmm.
Maybe like the move of the day or whatever. I feel like I need to be able to at least try to do step one. Let me do step
Yeah,
one of this 5 step move and then choke me out or whatever. But at the same time, I do, if I'll do a couple of those, I do feel the need like, okay, I need somebody to just destroy me on this next go round.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I appreciate all the different stuff people throw at me, but
Yeah, it's definitely give it a little and take a little. I remember uh, John Donaher. He's one. I'm sure you've heard the name, right? He's like
a
Gordon
lot
Ryan's.
on this
Yeah,
podcast, I've heard a lot from you
yeah.
guys.
So I remember him saying like the best way to train is like smashing blue belts, and obviously I'm white belt, right? But so my thing is like, okay, if I want to work on stuff, then yeah, you'll go against somebody that you can work stuff on.
Yeah.
But again, then there's times where it's like, okay, well, I want to practice getting out of side control. Like that's one thing I feel like I'm horrible at. I always end up in
Oh,
people always end up in my side control.
okay.
So just dialing down ways of getting out, shrimping out, different positioning.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
I
that's
don't
where it's
think
like,
I don't think I've ever gotten you in my side control. Probably
oh
not. I don't
man,
think I've gotten that far.
no, well, there's plenty of people that do it. And again, that's where I learn
Uh-huh.
most.
Uh-huh. So this is one of the things you're working on, kind of. By the
Kind
way,
of.
this episode won't come out till after your competition, so feel free
Oh,
to
okay. All right. Well,
by the time people hear this, they will
Let's
have
hope I have a medal at that point.
I'm sure you will. So, but is okay, so that's one of the things you're working on is like when somebody has you in their side control, when you're stuck, it's like trying to get out of that is one of the things
Trying to
you're
get
trying to work
out.
on right now.
Yeah, yeah. Because I told the story to the guys one time over dinner, but when I first started training and the first time I ever got that pressure, I remember obviously knowing I'm in jujitsu, knowing I'm training, but I remember like my brain, like I went almost like into like a panic mode, so to
Okay.
say, where like my brain was saying, "Get up and hit this guy!" Like get up and hit this guy, and I had to be like, "Yeah, yeah,
But
I
you got to
swear."
get up first, right?
Exactly, you got to get up first. But then I finally was able to like spaz out of that position.
Okay.
And after class,
Spaz out.
yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to like spaz out of that position. And after that, I remember just thinking like, holy crap! Like I was, I felt like I was drowning under this guy's weight. I'm like
Okay.
legitimately
Yeah.
drowning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was talking to Chris about it, and he's like, that just is just part of the training. That's these higher belts, they've
Yeah.
been through that. They've been taken into those deep waters, and now I somewhat know what
Yeah.
what that felt like. And now I'm a lot calmer, and I can watch my
Okay.
breathing. Okay, I'm cool. Okay, I'm in a really bad position right now. Just breathe, breathe,
Okay.
breathe, and then
Okay.
bam, and then I'll find a way to try and get out.
I see. I see. Wow. So, what I guess the thing that surprises me most about what you said is that you spazzed out and it worked. Spazzing out worked to get you out of that
That moment
position.
it did, man. That moment it did. I remember just like again, I felt like I was drowning, and I just tried to just I don't even know what I did. I might have framed or whatnot. And it was when I like first started. It was within those first few months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know there was no technique behind it.
Who started when you started? Like November 22. Who were some of the beginners then? Because I guess you've been
Those,
training a little bit longer than a lot of the people I've interviewed.
yeah, there's two guys. Sorry, I don't know their name. But
Oh.
they are both blue belts now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I started with them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but those guys do the 6 o'clock class.
Okay.
But yes, I know one of them. We started maybe 3 weeks, like it was like a 3 week
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
All
But other
right.
than that, everybody else I started with is just fallen out. I haven't seen them. I know a few guys
No
moved.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah, a
Oh,
few guys
moved,
moved.
or I mean, they just
MIA.
they
Yeah,
didn't
just
enjoy. Oh, MIA. They
yeah.
just
I have
dropped
no
out.
clue what happened to them. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, for the most part, when I started, there's maybe two guys left.
So, question: has that thought ever entered your mind that I might just quit?
No.
I
Not
didn't
at
think
all.
so.
Since I've started training, I've been consistently training. Now, granted, the first year I was only doing maybe 2 times a week, just
Okay.
because I had a newborn. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so I was only maybe doing twice a week.
Okay.
But it was after that first year that I started doing the 3 times a week.
Okay.
But for the most part, I've been consistent. I've never fallen off. Knock on wood,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been injured. Um,
Good for you.
I
Enjoy
haven't had
that.
to take time off because of that. But one time I did take like maybe like a 6 week hiatus. Like I was gone for
Okay.
like about a month and a half. But that was just due because work was just so crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, never
Did
because
you
of
say
an injury.
6 months?
No, 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 6 week. I'm sorry, 6 week.
Oh, I was like, damn,
Yeah,
six
no, no,
months is a
six
long
week.
time.
No, 6 week.
Got it. Got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
twice a week. Twice a week is that's
it's not
about me right
enough.
now too. It's not enough. I mean, but
No,
that's
it's
what
not
I'm down
enough.
to right now as well. Is but because of my work schedule, it changes all the time. So that like whenever in the summertime, when I'm in town, because we're going to be in Japan for a whole month this summer.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
but when I'm not there, when I'm here in the summertime, I'm training. Like last summer was awesome. I had so much fun because I was going to the morning class pretty much every day if I was here and healthy and not injured and in town. So I was able to go every morning, 4 mornings a week for
Okay.
I mean, probably not every morning, but it was between 3 and 4 mornings a week for a good almost 2 months of last
Oh,
summer,
that's awesome.
including in addition to that extra 5:15 morning class. And yeah, it was awesome to be able to do that. But during the semester, like now, it's Tuesday, Thursday night usually. And then you said you try to do three. I try to work in a Friday
Yeah.
night as well. Is that you too? Like a Tuesday,
Yeah,
Thursday, Friday?
three's minimum for me. Nowadays, it's never less than three. I typically do like a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday
Right.
is kind of
That's
my
about
the
like me
days.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the days I'm going. And like I said, I'm still weightlifting in between that as well. So
Yeah.
I'm training 5, 6 times a week for the most part,
Right. If you include the
including the weightlifting on stuff
weightlifting.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
So back to your competition, though, we didn't get into it too much about your first one. I'm curious, like you said, it just didn't go the way I wanted it to go. How many, like, I don't know.
I
Can you
had
elaborate a
yeah.
little bit? I'm
So
curious.
I had 3 matches. I only had 3 matches. I won my first one by points. It was a 4-2.
Okay. What were
So
the points that you got? Were they from the sweeps, the submission?
yeah,
Well,
I
I guess
swept
not
the
a
guy.
Um, Okay.
I got the guy in a lockdown.
What kind of sweep? What kind of
Shout out
sweep?
to Chris. I don't know the name of it. I don't
Wait,
know the
shout out
name.
to Chris. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
he taught me that sweep. It's like you do like a
Oh,
lockdown and then
okay.
grab their leg and you just kind of just roll them over.
Okay.
That's what I did. And then but one of my first points the first 2 points I got was because my takedown. I collar dragged him. Um,
Oh, the collar drag, the
yeah,
kind
I
where
got
you
a
grab
collar
that
drag.
we do a lot with Professor Tim, right? Like the
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
okay,
That
yeah.
collar
Hey, I
drag
know that
had
one.
Tim's name written all over it.
Heck yeah.
Um,
Shout out Professor Tim.
yeah, shout out Professor Tim. Yeah, I still hit that one to this day,
All
and
right.
it's pretty
All right.
successful.
All right.
But yeah, I got that, did that sweep, so I was up 4-2. My second match, I got smashed. This guy felt so dense. I did the 168 division that time,
Yeah.
and I don't know, man. I felt like
You
that
sorry, when you say the 168 division, you mean and up or and below?
and below. But
Okay,
this
so that's
one guy, that second match, like I remember, he just felt so dense. Like he
okay.
felt like a ton of bricks. Anything I tried with him, I couldn't move the guy.
So he was
Um,
at the high end of that division, huh?
yeah, yeah. So he whooped me. He definitely beat me.
Did
Like
he submit you?
no, no, no. Oh, and it's funny you say that. At one point, he took my back, and I think I made the mistake of inviting my family, which I won't be doing that next time around.
Why?
Um,
Was it just too much pressure or
way too much pressure. Way too much pressure. I remember like at one point, this guy took my back. I'm looking up at the rafters, and
yeah.
my kids are there, and I'm thinking at that moment, I'm about to get choked out in front of my kids. Like that was a one thing I was thinking. I'm about to get choked out in front of my kids.
Okay.
Um, And I got out, thankfully. I didn't spaz out of that one. At least I
You
don't think I
spaz.
did.
This
I
is your
don't think I did.
technique for. I got to learn your
No, no,
spaz
no.
technique.
I said I don't think I did this
Oh,
time.
you don't think you did?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I was able to get out. But I didn't like that feeling, man. I didn't of them
Now,
just.
was it what was it about the feeling you didn't like? Was it you don't? I don't want my kids to see me lose, or I don't want them to see me get lose like this, or just you know?
I just. I don't know. It was just everything, I guess. Yeah, I didn't want to see them watch me lose, get submitted. Just the
Okay.
fact that they were watching me, I felt like that was another big thing. So this next competition, like I'm not inviting anybody. It's just,
Okay.
yeah, nobody's going. Nobody's going. I've had a few
You
people say,
know,
"Hey,
I don't. Okay, I don't blame you at all. I kind of. I'm
mhm,
never. I'm no, never say never. I'm probably not going to compete, but I mean, if I did, I'm more your style. I don't want. I feel like it'd be a lot of pressure. I'd be like, no, no, just leave me alone. So
yeah,
I can kind of relate to what you're talking about. So no friends, no family. It's just you, right?
just my training partners. As long as my training partners are there, that's all I
Oh,
need."
so
And
we can go. So I can go.
yeah, yeah, definitely, you guys can watch for
Ah,
sure. I
okay.
mean,
You
people are
meant
gonna watch
like.
regardless, right?
Oh, you meant like outside of the jujitsu
Yeah,
like
yeah, like
family.
outside of the jujitsu
Okay.
family, like my friends and family, I don't want any of them there.
Mm-hmm.
At least not
Mm-hmm.
this time.
Right.
Maybe in the future I get a little bit more comfortable with that, but as of now, not yet.
And so then how did your third fight go from that one a year ago or two
I
years ago?
remember not wanting to go out there. I remember my arms were I was like on a crazy pump. I can barely close my hands. It was like an adrenaline
Grip.
dump. Yeah, my grip
Uh-huh.
was gone. I had a Wellington. He kind of started. I actually started massaging my left arm because my
Okay.
left forearm was so tight. And he's like, "You had another match," and I remember saying like, "I don't want to go back out there." Like I legitimately just did not want to go back out there anymore. And then on top of it, it was on the tail end of the gi, and the show had gotten backed up, but in one way where they had brought the blue belts of a different division to compete on the same mat. So I was out there for about an hour and a half, and I probably had to wait for my last match. It was like a good 35-minute wait. I felt like 30 minutes. So I felt like I kind of went cold. My adrenaline dump had
Oh,
gone. I was already
so
flat.
it's too long. You didn't want to
Too
wait that long.
long. It was too long.
But didn't you need that time to get your grip strength back and everything?
My mindset was like, man, let's just get through it. Like if I was gonna do all those matches, like let's just do them back to back to back.
Uh-huh.
I felt like
Uh-huh.
that 30-minute gap or whatever was just enough for me to just get in my head.
Yeah.
I didn't feel
I see. I see.
that
Okay, so okay. So then the blue belts are coming out, and did that also put like pressure on you too, like seeing these guys or
no, not the
um
pressure. It was just that waiting, just that waiting. So by the time I got into that, I went on the mat already kind of defeated, and it was for the bronze match, from my understanding.
okay.
And I lost that one by points. So I didn't get submitted, but I did lose by points.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So this time around, come April, I'm going to be doing the 154. So I'm actually cutting to do the lighter
Oh,
division,
damn. So that goes down to what, like 140? Like 140 to 154?
something like that. I don't know the specifics, but I mean, some of the guys I went up against, they were tall. I remember one of like the last guy I went up against, he must have been like at least like 6 feet.
Okay.
And I'm only 5'7",
Uh-huh.
so you figure, even out the playing field. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's either you're dealing with speed or you're dealing with strength, right?
Uh-huh.
So this time I got speed, so it's like, all right, let's challenge I'm gonna challenge myself now, speed with speed, see
Uh-huh.
how that goes. Although I will try to be a little slow.
So you're right, but you're cutting weight like because you said you walk around about 160?
Yeah, 160 is kind of like what I walk around at. So I
Okay.
got a few pounds to cut. Right now
Okay.
I'm like 156, so it's not a huge cut. It's a pretty easy cut, I'd say.
Okay, because it goes up to 150. Sorry, what does it go up to? 155?
154. It's in
154.
gi. Yeah,
And
in
that's in the
gi.
gi. So you've got,
Correct.
so between now, when's like the official weigh-in? Like the
The
Thursday
day of.
before?
No, no, no.
The
It's the
day
day
of.
of.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
you
it's
got like
that's.
2 weeks and you got to, but I mean, I'd say you got to lose like what, 6 pounds maybe between now and
I'd
then?
say maybe like 4 pounds, really.
All right. I'm just trying to think about the gi and adding that up.
Yeah, I'd say maybe
So,
about 4 pounds. But you can do it the day of, and you can do it at 7 in the morning, from my understanding. So I could still rehydrate throughout the day. So
right,
that is
right.
my goal is
Okay.
go in there, maybe hit the sauna the night before a little bit as well, go
Yeah.
fast, weigh
Yeah.
in, and then chow down. So I'm able to smash,
Yeah.
or at
Hell
least try
yeah.
to.
Try to. Well, I mean, I have to say, whatever Fernando competed, 2 years ago, you are a very different competitor now, right? I mean, I'm sure you can tell the difference between who
Yeah.
you were then and who you are now.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like even when I go up against the higher belts, like I can hold my own. I mean, I remember when I first started, you do those rounds with the higher belts, and they submit you, 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a success story if I can go that. I mean, granted, I'm getting smashed, but if I didn't get tapped out, it's like, okay, well, that's I'm getting
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And so, what's your plan between now and the next 2 weeks? As far as like, is there a specific thing you're trying to focus on? Like your
Yeah,
game
just
plan
get some
is.
good hard rounds in.
Mm-hmm.
This week I've been
Mm-hmm.
going against all the other guys for the most part that compete. Like I said, been doing those 6 o'clock ones at least once a week,
Okay.
which I'm
Yeah.
gonna try and do
Yeah.
that this coming week as well. But yeah, man, just trying to get some hard rounds in.
Okay.
Some higher paced rounds, I guess you can say as
Okay.
well.
Okay. I find it so interesting when I talk to you and your approach to an upcoming competition versus someone like Cody and his approach to an upcoming competition, which is like, I mean, again, I'm not into the competing, but I'd be more like you, like, okay, let me just work my ass off and get my butt kicked a bunch between now and then versus, someone like Cody is like, I've got very, very, very specific things I want to focus on
Yeah.
between now and then and try to improve this list of things. I mean, you would be kind of the side control thing maybe, but other than that, it sounds like mostly just let me kind of work my butt off, get some good challenging rounds against higher belts and that's what
Yeah,
I want to focus
I
on.
mean, we're all different, right? Cody, the way he
Yeah,
breaks it
yeah.
down is it's awesome. I don't think that works for me, like the note taking and stuff.
Right.
I'm not a note taker. I'll take mental notes.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, a lot of times it's just like, okay, well, this didn't work for me last time. So there's plenty of mental notes that I have,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of
Uh-huh.
what I work on.
What are some of the mental notes?
Like one of like the caller, for example, that
The loop thing?
the loop choke for yeah,
Okay.
I- like getting my foot into where they can't roll out of it because I know I tried to hit it and I wasn't like securing them, so they were able to roll out of it.
Okay.
And then talking to Mark, he actually told me, how to secure the body a little bit so they're not able to roll out. So little things like that,
Yeah.
I've been working on. Um, when I have the mount, not to sit so much on their hips because then they can bump you off, right? You kind of want to go up a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I got to work
little,
on that, man.
yeah,
I have a
little
hard
things
time
like
staying in
that.
mount like that. But
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
yeah.
And that was my struggle. And then somebody told me it's because you're sitting by their hips. So when
When
they,
they bump you, then they're
it's
actually
so much easier. Exactly. So I've been
okay.
working on moving my body up a little bit more.
Okay.
Just little things like that. I don't want to overcomplicate it, but as long
Uh-huh.
as I can
Uh-huh.
change those minor little details, I feel like it'll go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm just so curious. Like in terms of the competition coming up, like is there obviously you want to win, but are you hoping to win in a specific way? Are you hoping to get an like obviously by submission is the ultimate. So, but is
Oh,
there a
that'd be
specific
mhm.
submission? Like if I could win by
If I can win
armbar
by
or
bow and
by
arrow against everybody, then
uh-huh.
that would
So there is
yeah.
that would be like the ultimate for you, winning by bow and arrow.
That's my move. Yeah, I love that move. That's my favorite move. So much so that caught Chris again. The
Yeah.
one time I was rolling and he saw me do it like back to back to back. He's like, "Hey, Fernando, you should probably work on another move." And I did, but it's just I love that move, man. It's just
All
and
right.
it's I feel like for me at least, it's easy to get into that positioning.
Okay. Okay. Wow, man. Again, like with Cody and the try, I mean, I'm looking forward to the day that somebody tells me, all right, Connor, you're dominating with the armbar or something to where it's like, oh, am I that good at that now to where it's noticeable by somebody else?
Right,
'Cause
right.
that's awesome that you've gotten there, man, that you've gotten there with
Yeah,
that bow and arrow. So that's got to be an awesome feeling.
yeah, yeah. So there's other stuff I'm, trying to work on, So we'll see how that plays out, but I just want to win. Um, I guess key is also just on my breathing. That's one thing I feel like we all tend to forget, but when
Okay.
we don't pace ourselves,
Okay, so like to
consciously
just
being aware
take
of my
like consciously
breathing.
being aware of your breathing. Really,
Yeah,
really, really.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, so like if you're in a crappy position or something, just
yeah.
like slow down. I guess
And
that
I've
goes
been,
back to your slow down thing too.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I feel like I'm slowing down, but everybody else says like, nah, man, you're still moving really fast. Um, but just breathing, because yeah, I've realized that, we do those rolls and I gas out, or at least I feel like I
Uh-huh.
gas out after
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that first round.
Yeah.
So just pacing myself.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, pacing yourself. Don't gas out. Well, best of luck, man. I think you're gonna do freaking awesome. And either way, you're gonna do better than you did the previous time, which is
Yeah.
got to be a good feeling. And I mean, I assume you plan to keep competing regularly.
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to compete, stay healthy, and just trying to at least as I move up the ranks, because like I said, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Do competitions at least in every belt that I receive.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what Mark said too.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm
That
in it for the long run.
heck yeah, you are. That's great, man. And since we're approaching the end of the hour here, I did want to ask because I meant to ask this early on. I forgot. Yeah, because I kind of want to get to know you guys a little bit better off the mat. And something you told me that not many people know about you, or not many of our training partners know about you, is that you are a big history buff and that you read a lot
Yeah,
of history.
yeah. I love history, man. Like the whole warrior stuff. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, Netzahualcoyot. That's one in Mexico. All that, all those warrior tales, and
Ah, warrior tales. Ah, so
yeah,
I
man.
noticed, I have to say, I noticed you even said Genghis Khan's name the way that I think it's supposed to be pronounced, which is, say it
Genghis
again?
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, because I've had some Chinese friends say it like that. And I'm like, because
Hmm.
I think I was trying to tell, I used to teach ESL and I was mentioning Genghis Khan in class. and they didn't know what I was saying, and some of the Chinese students were like, "Oh, you mean Chinggis Khan?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, okay, is that how you say it?" And yeah, you know your stuff. If I would say
Yeah,
you know
man.
the pronunciation
Mhm.
of Genghis Khan, yeah, there's some pretty awesome history there. But so you actually read a lot, like books?
Yeah, yeah. I read a lot. I do a lot of audiobooks now as well, just because I'm out in the field all day inspecting homes. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm always just diving deep into these podcasts or like I said, audiobooks,
Uh-huh.
all history based. And I don't know, man. It's just like I said earlier, it's just something I always had that fight in me that I
Yes, you do.
that that these tales they kind of just pump me up, like the way of the warrior type deal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome, man. So can you recommend a book? Because I'm not much of a reader, especially since I had kids and I can make excuses. But if a book doesn't like grab my attention and keep my attention, as much as I like history, I get bored and I stop reading it. But can you recommend a history book that? Because I'd love to read a nice, awesome warrior book about history, but it's got to be a good attention grabber and attention keeper.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you
I'd say that
recommend one?
last one I got of Alexander the Great was an awesome one. It was a pretty
What was it called?
um oh, man, I got it right there. I'm looking at that book right now. I don't know the name of it,
Okay.
but if another big history one that I liked was The Daily Life of the Aztec. That one
The
was
Daily Life of the Aztec. Okay.
that one was awesome for me. One of my favorite. I
And
love all, like I said, all history, but Mesoamerican in particular is kind of like my go-to.
and when we say Mesoamerican, this is to
We're talking all like Central
like
Mexico, all
okay,
Mayan, all that stuff.
okay,
And it's because I have deep connections on it from my dad's side of the family.
yeah.
So I do feel that connection with that even more so. But yeah, Daily Life of the Aztec, man, that book really.
Daily Life of the now it would like that kept your attention, like you were like, I don't want to put this book down.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah.
and did you read it like book or audio book?
That one I read the book, and I've read it a few times.
A few times. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, a
quite a
few times.
recommendation. Shout out
Yeah.
Daily Life of the Aztec, whatever that is. I
hmm
guess I'll have to check that out. I think you
Yeah.
might be convincing me to give
Check
it a
it
shot.
out. Check it out. I hope you
Okay.
enjoy it if you do.
Yeah, will do. So, oh yeah, I do ask everybody this. So, what, somebody who, some of our listeners haven't started jujitsu and they want to, but they're scared or they're not sure, etc. So, do you have any advice for those people?
Just dive into the deep end. There's no better day to start than today. Don't say for tomorrow what you could do today. Just do it. Don't be scared. I know that first day in class you think about like again martial art, oh, tough guys, a lot of ego, and it's far from it. Um, get started. It sounds like there's plenty of good schools down here. Obviously, one is number one. Um,
Obviously.
Obviously, yeah, but I mean, just get into it. Don't even think twice about it. You'll regret not doing it sooner.
Nice, man. Absolutely. I think that's great words of wisdom. But Fernando, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me,
And
man. Thank you.
I should have said this at the beginning, but I've been excited to interview you since you were one of the first people I thought about since I
Oh,
even
thank you.
started thinking about starting a podcast like this, because it's like, I want to figure out how Fernando is so damn good. So it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And